Yellow. Oh, I forgot to change my... I've done so many things in the last hour. I can't believe I forgot this. Hi, hello, welcome to another stream. I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm doing all right. A little flustered. Had to do a lot of things all of a sudden. It was one of those things where, like, I thought I had everything done, and then I didn't. So I had to scramble to make it all happen. And then when I thought I was done, I realized I completely forgot about my own mechanic that I wrote about flipping a coin that's been in the game forever. I feel like it's been in the game forever, and I just forgot about it. Hey, Crit Witch. Hey, Kalino. Hi. How are y'all doing? I'm just changing the lights up above. So bright, like a diamond in the sky. Somewhere I own a Santa hat. Don't know where it is. Not a clue where it is. I looked for it, couldn't find it. Then I couldn't find this shirt, but then I found it. But now you can't see it because my mic's gonna be in the way. But it's a Bucky's inside a wreath. It's a Bucky inside a wreath wearing a Santa hat. That's my thematically. It's my in theme shirt. Also, it's no why. What? Do you not like Bucky? Do you not like the beaver? But you can't see it because of my mic, so I just need you guys to know it's there. Instead, you guys get the little cats here on the side. I mean, NGL, but why Bucky? What do you mean? You should. They have really good food. Also, my hair is just not cooperating today. I was hoping it would. It didn't. So we're just going to put it up. Which is fine because it's still hot. There's a cold front coming through, but it's still hot. Let's see. I do need OBS open, but it's not that important. It's not that important. So let me just boop this over here. Oh, let me unmute this so you guys can hear the lo-fi Christmas beats. Although Gremlin Gifts is not exactly a Christmas song or a Christmas game, it is a holiday game. I'm unhappy with my pallor. NVIDIA. I think it's just because the shirt's red that it's really not doing me any favors here. I'll also just move the camera up just a little bit. You know what? That'll do it. That'll do it. I had the wrong. So my ring light It's not a. I mean, I mean, it works. It does its job as a ring light. But its purpose is not to be a ring light. I just use it as such. Um, let's see. Not gonna lie, it's cute. But why, Bucky? The nearest was 2 hours away. Sag, you're not a dedicated fan, Kellen. You haven't made a destination travel. I know. Imagine. No, I get it though. My closest one is close though, so I'm not bugging about my stuff. I'm bugging about their prices. Their prices have gotten exorbitant. I don't want to have my hair up. I want to have it down. I'm gonna have it down. We're just gonna have to live with the fact that my hair just looks a little bleh today. Maybe once I'll go, I'll be converted. All right, let me turn that off. I don't need that. That means I can move you guys down here. All right. Okay, so I learned some things for today. I learned my god. Not everybody's moved over from not everybody's moved over from Twitter. It has been just nonstop, maybe not bots, but definitely feels like bots. Following me every time I post anything that says Twitch on it, which is a little sad. No, don't do that. Ugh, hopefully everything's still fine on this screen. It is. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I've done some things. I finally learned how to do macros. Kinda. I mostly just stole it from the Roll20 website tutorial template. They said, hey, do this. And then I was like, okay. And then I just replaced what they wrote with what I wanted. And that's about as good as it's going to get for today, at least. I also learned what a rollable table was, kind of, sort of. It doesn't do exactly what I want. But it works. And that's all we can ask for. Also, I have these dice that don't go away. I don't know how to make them go away. They're just there now. Just so we all know. I would like them to not be here. Oh, do I just click it? Oh my gosh. I don't ever use 3D dice, guys, but I'm doing this for you. Because I know you guys like 3D dice. I never use 3D dice though. Hey, Dan, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. I need to pull up my own rules because while I remember most of them, I did have to be an hour late. Not only because of worldly things, but also because I forgot that chaos dice existed and that I needed to then, not even chaos dice, that I needed to flip a coin. And then I forgot about the chaos points also. So, you know, we're getting there. So as a introduction to the game, today we are playing Gremlin Gifts, my own game in which I converted it from an idea for an adventure that I was going to write for D&D that I just never felt right. I was going to write it and release it for some release in 5e when they like added stat blocks for gremlins and like kobolds and stuff for playable races, but it didn't feel great. So I ended up doing chaos. So I just shelved it for a while and I was like, I will write this adventure once I find the right system. And to be honest with you, I never really went looking for a system. So I just sat on a shelf for a lot, the metaphorical shelf. It was in a folder, inside a folder, inside a folder, in my documents folder, inside another folder. So I was talking on stream one day about these adventures that like live in my head that I just haven't written down or haven't really had the inspiration or place to kind of put these things. So I ended up throwing it. I ended up talking about it enough times that I thought, well, this could be a solo adventure. I could write this as a solo adventure. And not only that, I do have aspirations for converting this also to be a multiplayer, like a 2 to 4-player system. 4 players may be a little too much, but I'll try. Not that I have, but we have good bones. We finally made good bones. And so I set off in the past month to kind of just create the whole system. Hey, Sphinx. Hey. Welcome in. So I went about creating this game with you guys, with stream. And so most of it actually didn't end up in the actual game, but it gave me a lot of good ideas and a good direction to go, which honestly is what I mostly needed going into this, because there's a lot of different ways you can write games, a lot of different systems, and I had the idea in my mind, but I had an idea for an adventure, and adventures aren't the same as a game, you know? So I needed to refine the idea and find a better pathway. And so with your stream's help, I was able to work it out to get what we have today. So the plot of Gremlin Gifts is we, the player, are going to be playing a bunch of little tiny gremlins, a little group of gremlins whose job today, the day of the solstice, the longest night of the year, you as gremlins have been planning for weeks, maybe even months. You've been scouting out your location, the house you're going to go visit, and you have you've seen things that they own. You kind of know what's going on inside, and you've been plotting, you've been planning, you've been trying to create your ultimate gift. And now, what is a gift in the mind of a gremlin? That's a great question. So if we're to look at this from the other way, gremlins are doing this for these people in this village we're going to do. I'm going to choose to play this in a more like fantasy medievally time. While you can do any time period, that's the one I chose. This fantasy medievally time in which you, as gremlins, kind of moved in and were welcomed by the village. Now, you as gremlins operate at night. That is, you're nocturnal. That is your operating hours, which works great in synergizing with the village, because they're daytime people. There's almost never any humans out at night, and that's fine. That's great. That's dandy, because, that means you guys get to share the town, the village, and, there's not really a ton of overlap there. And it's been really cool because the village has really embraced you and your culture, and you're not sure how they learn gremlin culture. You don't know who taught them, the ways of welcoming and the way of like showing affection for one another. And so we have gremlins. You can have, in fact, gremlins in the hood. Gremlins in the hood. That would be 10 out of 10. Oh my gosh. And so, you don't know who taught them this, but they have been so welcoming this entire time since you've landed. You've reached and decided to settle here in this village. So on this day, the longest night of the year, your longest operating day, you're able to go about creating your masterpiece. Now, what is this masterpiece? Well, let's look at it in the way of the villagers. The villagers about, in this last year have just had an increase in vermin in their village. They have been stealing things. They have been ripping things open, breaking things, taking things, creating messes. It's been a headache and a half. And as soon as these little nuisances came, you started setting up traps to try and catch them and stop them and get them out of your homes to prevent, or even putting in preventative measures to just stop them from taking your stuff. And as of yet, nothing has really happened. And you've just escalated the complexity of these traps more and more and more, to the point that it's ridiculous what you've had to do. And still yet these nuisances are running amok. So you are now as these villagers go to sleep on this longest night of the year, the sun has set, the moon has risen, and the villagers are asleep. Almost asleep a little too early, some would say, but I'm sure the gremlins have nothing to do with that. How are the villagers to know that gremlins' love language are traps and pranks? Because to them, that's exercises. That's mentally, mental exercises. You're able to, test your dexterity, test your mind. That is the gremlins' love language. And so they're going to share in this love language and giving you the biggest present they can. The ultimate prank, the ultimate trap, the ultimate escape room, even. You can do anything. We are going to be doing a trap. A trap in the style of a Rube Goldberg machine. So how we play this game is we have a deck of cards that we're going to pull out, and each card is going to represent a different item. And with these different items, we're going to determine if this is, because remember, the gremlins kind of like have scoped out the place, but gremlins are tiny. You need two of them to stack on top of each other to try to get the third one to climb into the chair. So you need a lot of them. Can the goblins also share their love language at Santa's workshop? You know what? If you want to do Santa's workshop, you could do the sitting wherever you want. The rivalry between the elves and the gremlins, never known before, but they are, they have scoped out the place, but they're tiny. They're not really able to like take things from the house or bring things to the house. I mean, they could, it would just take a long time. So, in interest of time, they need to work together and use the things inside the house first. So, they don't really know how good the items are. They've scoped it out. They've tried it out, but you don't really ever know how something's going to work until you actually put it to work. So, and villagers work during the day, so they don't really see these items being used. So they don't really know what's good, what's bad, what's trash, what's not. To them, everything's good until they find a use for it. So, we're going to pull this card, this item, and we're going to flip a coin to see if it's a new item or an older item that's on its way out. And after we determine that, we're going to roll some dice to see how well we're able to utilize that item in our Rube Goldberg machine. For those of you who may not be familiar with what a Rube Goldberg machine is, a Rube Goldberg machine is just a machine that operates on like the domino effect, in which you set in motion one piece and it will activate another one and activate another one and activate another one until you reach your end goal. And that is essentially what a Rube Goldberg machine is, just taking, and usually you see this with a lot of everyday items to reach the end. If you guys have ever played Mousetrap, it's very akin to that sometimes. So that's what we're setting out to do. We're going to roll dice to see how well our little gremlins are able to maneuver our items and into their spots. And we are going to narrate kind of how this process goes. Now, again, we are gremlins. We are not operating just one little gremlin. We wouldn't get anything done in just one night, even if it is the longest night of the year. So we're a small little team of gremlins working together to get everything done. And we have a finite amount of time. It is the longest night of the year, but it's still gonna, the sun's still gonna rise at some point. So you have to move fast. And sometimes these items aren't going to allow that. Sometimes they're too big. Sometimes they're a little too broken and you have to patch it up, or you have to kind of like pivot from what you originally planned. And all of that takes time. While it might be easy for us to pick up a bucket full of water and place it somewhere, for that's a whole operation that these little gremlins have to set up and do. So every action we take is going to take time. And if our item isn't cooperating with us, that's going to take even more time to kind of figure things out. I'm sure if you have ain't no fun unless the homies come along. Exactly. It's like me and my homies we're out to cause some chaos and havoc, as God intended. And so we are, that is what the point of the game is. And at the end, we are going to see how the entire machine functions based off of our actions. We have 12 hours to get this thing done. Once we hit 12, that's it. That's game over. If you go past 12, then you don't even get to set up your finale. So it's a little bit about time management. And most importantly, we need to have at least 5 elements to our Rube Goldberg machine before we can move on to a finale. If we don't hit that, we have to be gamers essentially to try and get to that point. And once we reach the finale, well, then we have our whole, it's, go big or go home. Either we're going to get 4 points or we're going to get no points. And that is all up to the dice and our chaos points. Chaos points are given to us as sort of like a comeback mechanic. If you roll a 1 on a die, and that's the die you have to use, well, then that's bad. That's an epic blunder. However, you get a chaos point. And the chaos point allows you to take 1 dice and roll it. And whatever you roll is going to be an epic version of a success or a failure, even if it's not a 1 or a 6. So 1s are epic blunders, 6s are epic successes, because I couldn't think of another word, or epic boons. And so our epic blunder means that we have to spend a ton more time working on our item. So instead of ticking the clock forward by 1 like we would with a normal fail, we took it over by twice. And in the game all about time management, well, you can imagine how that would be a bad thing. If we get an epic success, well, that means that you just simply don't move. You work so fast that you were able to just kind of like not move, except for the normal amount of time. And the same goes with a success. The one thing you do get with a 6 though is you get to if you want, you get to redraw your card, because at the end of the game we're counting cards, and that is how many points we are going to get at the end of the game. So if we drew 5 cards, we have at least 5 points in going into the finale, and then from there we get to figure it out. However, if any of those 5 cards are a card with a face, so a king, a queen, a jack, or an ace, well, then you get 2 points for that card. So if all of our cards are face cards, that means instead of 5 points, we get 10 points. So if you pull a 6 and you pull, let's say, the 4 of hearts, well, then you might as well try to pull the next card and see if it's a face card. And that's how that's going to go. So I think that's all that needs to be said. This is a story where we will be keeping track of our items, how we use these items. In between each card, we are going to narrate like how we're connecting them all. And noting that down, so at the end we could say the tale of how our machine works, good or bad. So that is basically all the rules. Once we get to the finale, I'll describe how the finale goes. Or if you were in other streams, you know how the finale goes. So, let's get started. So it is the solstice, the sun has just gone down, and this little group of about 5 gremlins are running down. Gremlins in this case are little tiny things, little like maybe 5-6 inches tall. They have a blue pallor. They have long ears that go off kind of up, but like are a little floppy sometimes. And they have little claws because they tend to live underground, so they need a way to to dig stuff out. So they have nice long black claws, and they're all wearing various different uniforms. You see one person with like basically like a high V, the fantasy version of a high V shirt, or a vest, I should say. You see people with like little helmets that look very much just like hollowed out knots from trees and things like that. And a lot of them are wearing sorts of like tool belts. And in those belts, we have different items like little hammers. As they're running, you can hear the little jingle of some nails or what you presume to be nails. And they have a small little ladder that they're carrying between about two or three of them. And so as they're running, and you hear the little clack, 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 clack on the cobblestones as they enter their house. Well, not their house, but the house that they have chosen to gift this gift on this night. And the house that we have chosen is the house of a small family, a family of three. There is a human man who lives here, a human woman, and a human child. You don't really know how old the child is, but they're smaller than the other two humans, so they must be the child, right? And you enter this point where this little hole that's behind a bush next to the siding of the house. That's the way you've been able to get in and out. It's a real sneaky place, hard to find, and they have found it. They've avoided all the night humans who patrol around, presumably for making sure that no monsters come about and attack them while they're asleep. Now, sometimes these humans get scared of them and they try to attack them. So they have to be a little bit careful coming in, but they've been studying this for enough time that they've come in. All their tools, they kind of just scrape their ladder in through this hole. The first of, I'm sure, many oversights on this day. And as this ad starts playing, I'm going to drink a little bit of water here. It's cold. I would suggest you guys also stay hydrated. I've been doing a terrible job lately. Oh, that's cold. I'm hot. Like my body temperature, it's hot. So any cold water is pretty cold for me right now. Yeah, take a little sippy sip. So, as we enter this house, we're met with a moonlit living room. There's, your typical table. It's a small one, not as big as you've seen in some other human households. But, this one fits about 4, maybe 5 people if you really wanna pack it in. There's several wooden chairs around. There's a simple kitchen, a couple of cabinets. There's several windows around this cabin or this home. It's small, it's cozy. You would guess. It's how I, human PB, would describe it. The Gremlins would probably describe it as very spacious. It's large, almost ostentatious, all the items they have, a lot of decorations. Gremlins tend to be a little bit more nomadic in nature. They don't really stick around very long. Not a lot of people like gremlins living near them, so they kind of have to move around pretty often. Staying in this village has been like the place they've stayed in the longest, so they've started to accumulate things that you would describe as decorations and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're very... They keep things simple when it comes to the decor. Now, they come in, luckily, Gremlins Nocturnal, also living underground a lot, they can see easily in the darkness. and they're able to finally see their canvas ahead of them. They've been here a couple of times, they've scouted out stuff, so they have more or less of an idea of where things are, but humans move things all the time. They always pick things up and put them down in different places, so we'll see what we're able to find. But as the night starts, we start with our first draw of the night. We move our token to start our night. We're on hour 1. It's always going to take us at least 1 hour to get something done. Always going to take us about 1 hour. Even if it goes fast, even if it goes slow, it's going to take at least an hour. How long everything else takes after that point is up to the rolls. So our first item, we're going to go and pick up our knitting needles. That's a little small for you guys, isn't it? I can zoom in. We have the technology. The technology exists. Okay. We have some knitting needles. Now, I will say there are a couple of mistakes with these cards that I need you guys not to mention because these took a very long time to do. And I did not get a lot of sleep because of it. So we have our knitting needles. Now you'll see on our card, we have a green option and a red option. The green option is if they're new. It's a description if they're new. If they are old and worn, well, then that's the red option. Now we're going to flip our coin to see which of the two it's actually going to be. And we rolled tail, so that means that it's going to be an older item. So these knitting needles are mismatched and they have a slight curve to them. Now that's not always a bad thing that something is old, but that's going to be really determined by what we roll. So if we had rolled heads and gotten the new version, then we would roll 2 dice and take the highest number. However, because we rolled the old version, we're going to roll 2 dice and we're going to take the lower of the 2 options. And that is going to determine whether or not we are going to go forward in time or by a lot or by a little is basically how this goes. So let's roll our dice and take the lower of the 2 numbers. Now we rolled a 1. Classic PB. We rolled a 1. So that means that not only we failed, if we fail, we only advance our clock by 1. But when we epic blunder, like we have here by rolling a 1, we move our clock forward by 2. So it takes us 2 hours to get the stuff done, essentially. But because we rolled a 1, well, now we have a little chaos token that we can use at any point for anything. We just have to live with our decision. So we can re-roll our coin toss if we really want and hope we get a new item so we get to roll and roll with advantage essentially. Or we can just roll one singular die and that dice will determine whether we win or fail. Just keep poking yourself with the needles, huh? Look, who knew? They seem old, but they're still sharp. I didn't know you needed sharp needles for knitting, but apparently you do. And to specify a 1 to 3 on the dice, that is a fail. A 4 to 6, that is a pass. Okay, so we have our little chaos token over there. And that is how we're starting. So the first step of the other thing is we have to use all these items in order. We can have these items kind of intertwine if we really want to as the machine starts going around. But to start with, this is how we're going to go. Ideally, so this is my plan. This is the broad strokes of our plan. I want something to happen when you open the door that activates our machine. Then that will cause a cascading series of events that will get our villager, hopefully the human man, to go through a series of hijinks until they end up at the table, sitting down at the table. That is the broad strokes of our plan, but we'll see how we get there. Obviously, we're off to a great start. So just because we epic failed doesn't mean that this element is gonna fail. It could. Narratively, it probably should. But it just means that it takes longer to get it done. So with these old knitting needles, probably originally I probably wanted them to roll. So you open the door would hit these knitting needles and they would roll off to the side and activate our next item. However, because these have like a gnarly curve to them, they don't like roll forward, they roll in a circle. And actually get stuck under the door, and it would kind of jam it. You find out as you try to simulate the action by like swiping your hand under as the gremlins try to swipe their hands under the door to kind of simulate the door opening, because obviously they can't open the door. One, it's too big for them, and two, it would make a loud racket, and you don't want to wake up the humans. So, gremlins pretty quiet, they're tiny, so like they talk amongst each other, but humans have good hearing, it turns out, so you don't want to cause too much noise. You're already going to cause quite the commotion, and you've done your due part to make sure they stay asleep as much as that you can, but at the end of the day, if they're going to wake up, they're going to wake up. So instead of having our knitting needles roll into our next item in the Rube Goldberg machine, after a series of trials of like climbing up to the top of the door and trying to see if that knocking down could do something, and it just couldn't. Again, it's just curved, so like you can't get a good roll going. They end up going with setting the knitting needle to hang off the doorknob on their side. And they're hoping that as the door opens, it's going to swing out and hit the thing. And now the thing that I think they spent the most time, aside from just like troubleshooting this issue, is it's hard to practice that. You don't know how much momentum someone's going to open the door with. So like kind of measuring out, dragging the chair over from the kitchen table. They've dragged it over and they're trying to like guess where it's going to hit. And it's hard and it takes a while, but they think they have it. So chaos point in hand. In that time, it took 2 hours to get that done. So let's see what we roll next. We roll marbles. Okay. All right, let's see if we roll nice new marbles, or are we getting have we accidentally stumbled into some trash? Heads. All right, we rolled some heads. I don't like that it doesn't show which one it is aside from the token, but like, what are we gonna do? I don't know what to do there, so we're just gonna live with it. That means it's new. These marbles are plentiful and clear. Okay, so that means we're gonna roll our dice, and we're gonna take the highest of the two numbers. Okay, and we rolled a 6. But we rolled so here it is. So we rolled an ace. An ace is one of our face cards. I know it's technically not a face, but I like aces being faces. So our ace is a 2-point card. So in this case, it's not going to serve us to pull another card and see if it's a face card, but it's a good opportunity to, to know that that's a thing. But most importantly, we started a new round, so we move forward an hour. And because we succeeded, we don't move forward. We stay here on 4, which is great because we need that little bit of leeway. Because there's something that happens once we hit 6 o'clock that I forgot to mention. Ooh. So we have 2 cards out now. Again, we need 5 cards to enact the finale. So we're getting there. We're on good pace. We rolled a 6, which is nice, but we don't really get anything aside from that. So what we do get is that these are new nice dice, and we have our dice marbles, and we have a lot of marbles. So because we spent so much time previously kind of trying to, get the momentum from the side, we set up a lot of like scaffolding, basically using the table chairs and some boxes that are around that we've basically, and like creating ramps to get up to these things. Cause again, we're just little guys. And it takes a while to just like continually trying to trapeze people up onto these items. So we've created little ramps with like maybe some books lying around, maybe some wood lying around. We have our own little ladder that we've created. So with all of this already kind of in place, we've kind of created a perfect little both ramp for these marbles to go down. And because there's so many of them, so many marbles, at this point, the swinging needle, all it has to do is gain enough momentum to hit it. Hit at least one of these marbles to kind of get the whole thing going. And not even the marble. I think we're going to have like a little gate made out of maybe some paper or something that's holding these marbles in. And all this knitting needle has to do is kind of swat that piece of paper to let it go. And what's going to happen is the knitting needle is going to go this way, swing over, hit the little gate, open it up, and it's going to let loose all of these marbles, which are going to go down this ramp of boxes and like crates and wood and a lot of some fabric that they use to create sort of like a ramp up these like sticks and stuff. And it goes down and it's redirected to the side. So when you open the door, it opens it, and then the marbles come down and fall in front of the door, but also roll past to activate whatever we're going to do next. All right. Okay. Now keep in mind, we have a chaos point. So if things go poorly for us sometime soon, we can always use our chaos point to try and redeem it. We do not have to call our chaos point before we roll. We can always do it afterwards. So let's see what we roll next. Our 8 of hearts. Okay, we get some dolls. Interesting. Okay. Okay. We are going to see if this is a new item or an old item. It's a new item. Okay, awesome. We rolled heads. So that means we're going to roll these dice and we're going to take the higher of the 2. Okay. Oh my gosh. And we rolled a 5. Which means that's a pass. So we get another pass. So we started a new turn. So we move forward by 1 and we passed, or we succeeded. So we are not going to take extra time here. We're just going to take the 1 hour to get this done. All right, cool. So that's 2 successes in a row. We got 1 epic success and 1 normal success and 1 epic fail, which is honestly just on brand. So what we have are these dolls have had a long life of these dolls have a long life of love ahead of them. So they're pretty like full of stuffing. That means they're probably a little bouncy. I'm sure we all know what like a new doll or like stuffed animal kind of feels like. They're kind of stiff. They always hold their position. If you sit them down, they're gonna stay sat probably, or if you lean them against something, they're gonna stay in that position. Now, if we had failed this roll, then it would be a different, maybe they didn't hold their position. But because we passed, they do. They're going to be maneuverable in the way that we want. So we have this knitting needle that's going to activate our marbles that are going to fall down this ramp in front of the door, in hopes that the person coming in through the door is either going to lose their balance or fall. Probably lose their balance, do like the skating and trying to catch themselves on something without having anything to catch themselves on. So they're going to try and maneuver towards something, in this case, hopefully the table over by the kitchen. So let's see. We have these marbles that are going to come down. Now we're also hoping that they're going to hit something. The Home Alone maneuver. I see you're familiar. I think what I want and why this one goes so fast and it's kind of easy. The hardest part is probably just getting the doll down from wherever it is and bringing it over to the side. And just kind of making sure that the trajectory is probably going to hit, getting the doll in the right place. We're going to put the doll there, and then we're going to find the small cup, as small as we can get, maybe even a cup of our own that we can like create out of paper or something that is going to hold this, going to hold at least one marble. And we're going to take some twine that we have in our own packs, and our little braiding gremlin, the one that's really good at braiding, is gonna braid up this twine and tie it onto this cup in such a way that we're going to be able to raise it up with something. And we're going to use the doll as like a nice little a catcher, essentially, right? So it's going to be probably like in between its legs or its arms or whatever it may be, depending on the doll. We'll say it's like a little Build-A-Bear doll, I think. Like a teddy bear, a Build-A-Bear in this universe, a little like teddy bear that we're going to have there on the ground on the other side of the door. A little ways off, but still about straight on where the marble is very, very likely for at least one to end up. And we help it a little bit by creating some like borders with some sticks that will hopefully redirect anything going in that direction. And once it hits that cup, something is going to activate to move this cup, etc. Maybe it'll even knock something over. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens here. But our doll is going to act like a catcher, essentially. All right. So let's see what we get next. Is it still on the screen? Oh my gosh. Okay. So we rolled the mannequin. So our mannequin is okay. Sure. We can no. We can make this work. All right. The doll is possessed, isn't it? Look, I'm not gonna. If you want to play this, I'm making this a holiday game. So if you want to play this in Christmas, you can play it on Christmas. If you want to play it on Halloween, play it on Halloween. There's plenty of creepy shit you can do with all of these items. If you want to Scooby-Doo it. You got this. Who says it has to be Gremlins? So I mean, aside from the fact it's called Gremlin Gifts. So okay, cool. We're gonna roll this. Let's see if this is an old or new mannequin. It's an old mannequin. Okay, so we're gonna roll. Oh, let me move our clock forward. We hit 6 at the beginning of this. And I'll tell you what happens here. There's Elf in the Shelf. get ready for the doll with a ball. So we're going to hit our to see if this is a new or old. I called it a naughty or nice die, but it's, you know, whatever you want it to be. So have we been naughty or nice? Let's see. We're taking the lower of the two. Oh, we rolled a 2. That means we have failed, which means we are moving our clock forward by 1. I think we're safe. Yeah, we're safe. We're gonna get at least 5 cards, so we don't have to stress about using our chaos coin in our chaos point. Chaos coin. Oh my god, the alliteration was right there. Hold on, I'm writing that down. Hold on. We're calling this a chaos coin. I've been calling it a chaos point, and I just couldn't think of a nice alliterative word to use with it. A chaos coin. It's only a coin, by the way, because I was working on our heads and tails. I thought it was going to look a little cooler on Roll20. I'm not going to lie to you, but, you know, it's there. Cool. No doubt. Okay, so this is going to take us a little bit more time to get done. So, and honestly, it makes sense because this is definitely going to be a little bit of a challenge. So this mannequin is real, has been loved. It has been used a lot. There's a lot of holes in it, a lot of pock marks from a lot of pinning. Maybe like some of those moths that eat fabric and stuff. And also it's probably a little wobbly, both like the mannequin on top and also like the stand it's on. It's probably all kind of wobbly and doesn't hold up well. How are we gonna make this mannequin work? If we're having so we have this cup with a marble in it. I know what we're gonna do. And it takes a while because gremlins are tiny and mannequins are heavy. So they had to like create a sort of like rolling system where they put like a little even stick that they brought from home, and they put it underneath probably like a very thin piece of wood, so they could move the mannequin from one side to the other and just keep rolling it like that, and just like keep replacing both of those. And luckily, you know, this mannequin wobbles a little bit. Otherwise, this would take much longer time. But that way, that's how they're able to kind of like quickly move it. Well, more quickly than it probably would take them otherwise, to move it from the corner of the room it's in all the way to in front of the door. In fact, this mannequin's probably not even in this living room. It's probably in a different room, but they just really wanted it. Because what they want to happen, and I think a little bit inspired by Sphinx here, is you know, they will have this, our villager will have just woken up. They open the door. They take one step, and suddenly they're wobbling all over the marbles, and they're trying to catch something. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this mannequin in a place where they can catch it, to try to grab onto it, but also get spooked when they see this mannequin. Because, you know, mannequins look like humans. Our gremlins have been scared many a time by this mannequin. There's a warning now when you go to this house that don't be scared. It's not a human, it's a mannequin. When you look right into this room, it moves around every day, but it's there. So do not fear. And so they're hoping that same fear exists for the humans when they see this mannequin where it's not supposed to. So as they're wobbling all over, they're hoping they're going to be directed grab onto this mannequin and also be spooked by it. So then they continue to lose their balance, but now holding onto this mannequin. And this twine that we attach to our cup with the marble is going to be caught. It's going to be tied onto this mannequin. So wherever they fall, it's going to rip this cup from where it is. Then enacting our next step in this Rube Goldberg machine. So I think that's good. I think we got something. I think we're cooking a little bit. All right, let's pull our next card. What do we got? Can you see this mostly on here? I can move this up a little bit. There we go. We have spades. Ooh, okay. We have a... Yeah, okay, good. We have a sack of fruit. This is really interesting. Actually, this is really interesting. Oh, Nightbot hitting us with that stretch. Look at Nightbot showing up for work today. It's only been an hour, and they're actually here. Are we gonna get hit with both of them, Nightbot, or just one? Let's find out. I was about to say, oh, it would be. I was just thinking because I think I want to. There's an ad playing, so I'll just start talking about things before we continue on. I've been thinking about going back to the VODs where I played these games. Only Nightbot knows. And Nightbot is not going to hit us with the hydrate. They said you already do that this time, Stretch. I've been thinking of taking our previous game nights and editing them down so I could put them on my main channel, PB Plays Inside, on YouTube. And that way, you know, it's a nice little condensed game instead of like the... Although I feel like I'm, for the most part, play the entire 3 hours. There's not a ton of downtime. In fact, I designed game nights so there isn't any downtime. But I think it would be nice to like at least cut off the ends and like anything in the middle when I had the BRB. And this, it's an idea I've had for a while. I thought I've had for a while. But I was mostly thinking about it right now because I had somebody comment on my VOD channel that they saw my game of Case Closed, a cold case CTRPG that I played, and they are friends with Wim Lawson, who wrote the game. So they commented on the VOD, and I was like, oh, you know, in my mind, I haven't replied to them yet because it's on I always forget about it because it's not on my main YouTube channel, and that's where I watch all my videos. But I need to like go back and reply to them and be like, oh, that's awesome, you know, let them know I love their game. And I was just thinking like, oh man, so I'm stretching in the middle of this, and I'm just like, oh man, maybe I should cut this one down and put it on the main channel, and I'll cut that out so like the creator of the game doesn't, if they ever watch it, they don't have to watch that. And I realized that it's me. I'm the creator of the game. And if I edit it down, I will in fact have to watch it. So that's just something that made me laugh to me, myself, and I. You know what? Nightbot didn't tell me to hydrate, but I will hydrate. That is a paradox, right? I think so. I think by definition, that's probably a paradox. Probably is. Okay, we need to roll a coin for this. Okay. Oh, I need to tell you guys the rules for post 6 also. Our ad's almost over. We have a couple of seconds left for my ad watchers. Pobrecitos. Caught behind the ad wall. Okay, so there is a new rule now that we hit past 6 o'clock. So if you see our clock over on the side, you'll see that we have green numbers, red numbers, and then the yellow number. So the green numbers are our first phase of the game. Our yellow number is the end of the game. Our red numbers signify that the pressure's on. The closer we get to the morning, the closer we get to our humans waking up. For some unknown reason, humans will always wake up at different hours of the day. Even if they will have been waking up at 1 hour for like every day for months, suddenly they will change their schedules and they'll start waking up earlier or later. No rhyme or reason that you can figure out. They change up their schedule. So on this night, the longest night of the year, you have to expect that will be true, that constant will be true. The chaos constant, as they like to call it. So anywhere between the hours of 6 and 11, they could wake up. And the way we're signifying this is that we're accelerating time. Suddenly, things are getting a little more stressful. Things are more our machines have become more complicated. There's less room in the actual house to play around, and there's also less items around to grab. You've used up a lot of your, you use up more and more of your resources every step you take through here. So the way we're going to signify that is instead of moving our token forward by 1 like we have at the beginning of each round, instead of going forward by 1, we go forward by 2. So each of these steps is going to take us at least 2 hours. It could take us longer, depending. And what's that going to depend on? Well, are we going to roll an old or a new sack of fruit? If it's a new sack of fruit, it's a sack of fruit that was brought back from the market this morning. So it's full. It has a lot of stuff in there. And all of the fruit or vegetables are probably nice and firm. It's also probably a new sack. So let's see. Tails, it's old. So this sack of fruit has been sitting in the pantry for a couple of weeks. So the items in there might not be great. An old sack of food is what you call what? Exactly. It's starting to ferment. Yeah, oof, okay. That still doesn't change exactly how I'll use it, but this is, let's see, are we going to have to use our chaos point here? We're going to roll 2 dice and we're going to take the lowest number. Okay, we failed. Okay. So this is where we have to game the system, right? So we failed, so that means we move our clock forward by 1. And that takes us to 10 o'clock. Now, at the beginning of next turn, we're going to end up at 12, and that's the end of our game. And if we haven't reached 5 cards by the end of the game, we don't have an opportunity for a finale, and we just count up our cards right then and there. Now, in this case, we failed, and that's where we are, right? If I roll again and I succeed, I don't move. And not only do I succeed, it's an epic success. So I get to pull another card and we could get a face card. Now, if we fail, instead of moving forward by just 1, we started here, right? Instead of just moving forward by 1, we're going to move forward by 2. And by default, we're just going to have to end the game because we're not going to be able to start another turn. So we either have the opportunity to get 2 cards here. Well, and here's the other thing. So if we succeed here, next turn we start on 11 and we play with our odds of, are we going to play for a 6 card and chance an epic fail without a chaos point in hand? Okay. See, this is where things get a little complicated. So, and the other thing is we can use chaos points in our finale. The finale in this game is we take 3 cards, we pull 3 different cards. The value of the card no longer matters. What matters is whether or not you succeed or you fail in putting these items together. You can get chaos points in that, but that's like the chances are low you're going to get a chaos point. Although I guess not that low because 1s and 6s count for chaos points in the finale. So the chances are high. And you draw 3 cards and you need to get 2 successes to succeed. 2 successes will give you 3 points. If you get 3 successes, you get 4 points. If you get 2 failures, you get 0 points. Well, actually, if you get 2 failures, you get 1 point. If you get 3 failures, you get 0 points. Maybe it's how we'll go about it. I haven't thought about that actually until right now. So like having chaos points for the finale is kind of nice. Because you can almost guarantee you're going to get a success. Almost. Or if nothing else, you have nothing to lose if you fail again, essentially. So, okay, so we're at a 9 now. If I fail, I go forward by 1. Or if I fail, I go up to 10 o'clock. And then next turn is just the end of our game. Or we can go into our finale. We have 1 face card, so we're going into this with 6 points. And we have a good chance of getting a good ending if our finale goes well. Which we can almost guarantee with our chaos point. However, we could use our chaos point now. Hope to get a success here. And hit that 10. Or not move at all if we hit a success. And then we get to... If we hit a success... If we keep our fail here... We move the 10. I think I'm keeping my chaos point here. I think I keep my chaos point here and I just take the fail. And we'll call our finale after we finish this card out. Okay, so what's gonna happen is, so we have our knitting needle. That's gonna go, it's gonna hit our gate. It's gonna latch onto a gate. It's gonna open it and it's going to let loose all of these marbles, which are going to go down and spread out in front of the door, which is going to send our human off of their balance and careening. Meanwhile, this marble is going to head into a little cup on that's being nestled by the doll we have gotten, which has a little cup to be able to catch this marble. Once this marble is caught, it's going to be yoinked forward by this mannequin we're putting in front of them that our human is going to try and grab to get their balance from, and hopefully get spooked at the same time, sending them off balance, now holding on to something, keeping them even more off balance. So what happens with this twine being this twine getting yoinked out of our doll, I think what we're going to do at the same time is we are going to connect I think because I want to send our human to sit down in the chair at the table, I think I want to use our sack of fermenting fruit as a kind of a counterweight. A sack of fruit bananas. I want to use it as a counterweight to keep our human off balance, but still but not falling. I don't want them to fall. I want to redirect them somewhere. I want them to sit in this chair. And then in this chair we'll have our finale, or like getting to this chair will be our finale. So from the mannequin, our little braider, our twiner is working hard braiding a bunch of twine, and I think maybe that's what takes so long is we have to like split the party essentially, or like they split up at first and do these jobs separately, and that's what makes them take longer. So like three we have our one braiding gremlin popping off and doing as much as they can with the twine, but the other two have to they don't have enough twine, so they have to go outside and scavenge to get some materials to make this twine. So two of them go out and they, buddy system, it's important. So they go out and they are collecting a bunch of these materials, so our braider can continue braiding this twine rope that they're going to need to use, and it has to be a lot of it because it has to go around the mannequin, and it also has to go and attach to this large sack, and also it has to be strong, so it has to be thick. So our braider is popping off, and the other two are the ones stuck in charge moving the sack of fermenting fruit from the pantry, from the back of the pantry, and haul it forward somehow and out of the pantry and out into on the other side of the table. So it counterbalances our human towards the table instead of away from it, or so we have a control of where it is. But again, gremlins are tiny, and it's only two of them that are trying to haul this thing. Even if it's only maybe 5 feet, they have to move it. 5 feet might as well be 5 miles. It's taking them forever to yoink it from one place to another. Hey, Mr. Limey. So our two little gremlins fighting for their lives, pulling this sack, trying what they can, but because the sack is so amorphous, due to it being a sack of soft fruits, it is not easy to bring it and drag it from this pantry, and using the same trick that they used on the mannequin isn't proving to be as successful as it was with the mannequin. So between half of the gremlins out, trying to gather the things, so our poor little braider just is braiding as much thick twine and rope as they can with the materials that gremlins use for it, plus having the other two be the ones dragging this thing out. It takes them hours to gather the materials and to move the sack to exactly where it needs to be, because even just moving it a little bit to the side or another side proves to be an arduous experience, and a tiring one at that. Our gremlins having to take, a break to gather their energy to be able to finish out here in our finale before our humans wake up. Hi, Mr. Limey. And with that, with our clock at 10, we're going to call our finale. We're going to start our finale here, because our next turn would take us to 12 anyways. So we go into the finale with 1 chaos point. Now, what is our finale? Our finale is we are going to take 3 cards from our... Oh, I can't fit it in there. I was hoping I could. Well, if I do like this. There we go. They're mostly on screen. We're going to take 3 cards. We're going to pull 3 cards, and each card is going to have, again, these values don't matter. If it's a face card, it doesn't matter. All that matters is if we roll a success or a failure here. So I am going to pull our very first card. Boop. And these are the items we have to use in our finale, by the way. So we have a hose. Okay, I can see how that's going to work for us. So we're going to roll our coin to see if this is an old or a new item. It's an old item. Again, I have a chaos point that I could use at any point here. So if I fail, I'm going to use that to re-roll our thing. So we're going to roll 2 die and we're going to take our highest one. Or lowest one. And we rolled a 5. Oh, that was so close. If we would have gotten a new item, we would have gotten the chaos point there. We are safe. We're safe. We rolled a 6 and a 5. We're going to take the 5 because, again, we rolled tails. So we're using an old hose, not a new hose. Okay, so that's 1 success. We have 1 success. All right, our next card, a horn. Oh, this could be really funny. Oh, wait, this might actually be really funny. Okay, let's see. Let's flip our coin. Tails again. Again, we still have our chaos point. We're going to roll 2 die and we're going to take the lowest one. A 2 or a 5. I'm going to use this opportunity to re-roll. And in this case, we're just going to roll 1 die. I don't have any fancy macro for this one because I didn't think about it until I started playing. So let's see. We have, again, the chaos point. A success is a success. An epic success. A fail is a fail. There is no in between. It's basically another coin. So let's see. Fuck, it's a fail. All right. Ooh, that's not great. Okay, so let's turn our chaos point off. So now we're 50-50 here at the end. Are we going to fail or are we going to succeed here? Let's find out. Taking our last item, we got a set of jacks. This is going to be really funny, actually. If we don't fail this, it'll be really funny. All right, no chaos points going into this one. We're going to flip our coin. Oh, I rolled tails again. Okay, cool. All right, tails again. We're gonna roll 2d6 and we're gonna get the lowest of the 2 rolls. Oh my god, that was so close to being so good. That was a 6 and a 4 until it wasn't. That was a 6 and a 4 until it wasn't. Okay. Why couldn't I got in this one last time? Oh my gosh. Trying to remember my rules. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I can't use this chaos point, but I will check my rules just in case. Gonna give Ted in this one. Let's see. Okay. I'm reading my rules. I'm reading my rules to see what it is. Fun enough. I haven't reorganized any of these, so I'm just reading them in the order we have seen them. For the sake of interest, I think for the sake of chaos, because we rolled a 1 and a 6, I'm going to give myself this chaos point to see in the nature of true chaos. Let's see what we get here. Heads, we succeed, or like 1 through 3 we fail, 4 through 6 we succeed. 4 through 6 we succeed. I wasn't expecting that. I saw every low number there. I was expecting us to fail there. I'm not gonna lie to you. So all of these items are old. We got 2 successes and a fail, which means we technically pass our finale and we get 3 points at the end of this. But that's not important right now. Right now, what I have to do is I have to tell you how we're putting together this finale. So this sack of fruit is being used as a fulcrum to bring our off-balance human towards the yoinked towards the table where we have correctly arranged our chair so our human can sit down on it. Now, what is taking us so long on this one is or no, we didn't take super long on this one, but our items did give us a little bit of trouble. So not everything is going to work exactly as planned, but that doesn't mean we're not going to still get a good finale here. So what happens is we are going to use this hose, which has a bunch of kinks and like leaks that are taped up, but are still, if you were to run water through it, it would still leak. So in fact, our little gremlins had to take a lot of effort to like secure some of these leaks, and hoses, this is a long hose. So like you guys can imagine how long that took. So, what happens here is, while about 3 of these little gremlins are working to fix up all of these holes and patch things up, testing it out with water every once in a while, the other person is going to take one of their sacks, one of their watertight sacks, like that you use to drink water from, essentially. But in this case, this is a human one that they stole. I forgot what they're called. The skins you drink water out of. I don't remember what they're called. But it's one of those. So you know it's airtight because no water can get through it. So, or at least as airtight as they're going to need it. So what they're doing is they are taking this large sack and they are tying it to one end of this hose. And they're making sure it's nice and secured and it's as airtight as it can be, putting like a mixture of mud and clay on one end to make sure that it is in fact as airtight as it possibly can be. And once and they keep testing to make sure that this hose is nice and airtight as much as possible, by continuously blowing into it. In this case, to also blow up the hose. And where this causes a little bit of an issue is that they were going to try and they were gonna do some. Well, no. Okay, so what they're also going to do is they're going to take another air sac, and what they're going to do is just, or another like tight leather, essentially. They're making it to as much of the sack as they can, and what they're doing is they are pressing down on the air to get it through the hose into the other sack as much as possible, because they're little gremlins. Even if all of them went up and went into this hose, they would die of just like lightheadedness. Essentially, if they tried to do it, they would continuously pass out until they died trying to fill up this entire hose with air and the thing. So what they're doing is they're capturing air with a sack and then depressing it so it goes through the hose into the other sack. And they do that, and it takes them a while, mostly because gremlins also are small and don't weigh a ton. So trying to like smush the air out from one sack into the other one and get it all through the hose and stuff like that without it all leaking out, well, it takes them a while. So gremlin games, exactly, honestly, at this point. And so they, as soon as this goes, or is the other side is full. Another one gets a very light glue, and they put it on the other side of the hose to make sure that the air doesn't leak out. It's just a very light covering, and they very gently place it on its side. And so while the person is doing that very, very quickly and efficiently, but also carefully as to not quickly break this quick drying mixture they have made. Think of it kind of like a latex or like a rubber that you would get off of a like a tree. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but like a rubbery substance off of a tree. It's basically that's what they're using, not to be confused with resin. So they cover that up, and then we're gonna snooze this because we're right at the ending of this first game at least. So we cover it up with this mixture, and they get this. The other group is going and they grab this case that's inside a drawer, inside like their craft room, the same crafts room, the same room that they had this mannequin in. And in it, there is this shiny, well, it's not very shiny, it's shiny to them, but it's actually a pretty tarnished horn that has dents in a lot of places. And if you were to press down on the valves, they'd be sticky too. Like they wouldn't come up right away. It's not great, but it's going to do the job hopefully they want. So they carry this horn over their shoulders, all like 4 of them that aren't working on this hose, and they bring it over, and they, using that same like rubbery concoction, they put it around the mouthpiece of the this horn, and they connect, and in that way they connect the horn to the hose that's connected to the sack. And also what they end up doing is they will also so the sack is on the chair. This hose leads from the chair to this horn that's now on top of the table, which took him a while to get up there, but at this point they're pros at maneuvering up and down this household. So they take this horn up top, they place it up top, they have this sack of air connected to this hose that's covered at the moment with the horn at the other side of the mouthpiece, other of the hose's mouthpiece. And then they grab these jacks, and it's not really going to be that complicated. All of this is interconnected. So with these jacks, they are simply just going to place them on the chair in the same way that Sphinx said, just throwing the jacks onto the chair. So when our human comes in, they will come sit on this chair with these jacks on it also. So that is how we intended to go. Is that how it really goes? So let's count up our points and see what kind of ending we get. So we have an 8, an ace, an 8, a 10, and an 8. Wow, we picked up almost all our 8s on that one. We almost got a 4 of a kind. We did get a 3 of a kind with an ace, a high ace. So we get our all our numbers are just count for 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 normal cards and 1 face card. So we have 6 points coming out of our phase 1. And in our finale, we get 3 points because we succeeded with 2 of our cards. So 6 plus 3, we get 9. We got 9 points. Where does that get us? Also, one of the lowest point totals I got in all my testing. Hold on, I need to make sure that this isn't anything important. Nope, it's just somebody's stream turning on and off again. Okay. Let's see. So for 9 points, oof, we just barely make it. Yeah, our gift goes off with only a few hitches. And even then, somehow a lot of them ended up working for us. And it's been a long, hard night of working on this, but it sounds like our gift recipient is just waking up from their sleep. So we have just enough time to run up onto one of the windowsills right above the little hole we escaped from. Does this poor man survive? Find out now. So we make our way around, and we sit on this windowsill right on top of the little hole we come in and out of. And as we are chilling up there, finally putting our feet up for the first time all night. We've been working, all our little gremlins have worked so hard. Our braider's fingers are sore. We have our goblins who have been outside gathering for part of the night, and not only that, they also drag this hose in from the outside to the inside. So these guys are a little dirty, and the people inside who were working with the sack of fermenting fruit, they are all kind of like a little bit sticky and kind of stinky, but at the end of the day, they got it done. They have a celebratory little elixir in a small little like acorn-esque looking cup that they each take out from their pack, along with like a little, essentially like a little raisin, if you want to think about it. And as you hear the heavy steps of the human starting, they all do a quick cheers and they take a drink as our door opens. Pretty, not very slowly, but it opens up with enough strength that our knitting needle goes out, and our gremlins, they sigh in relief, because that was probably the one part of this that was the most likely to fail. And our knitting needle swings out and it hits this little piece of paper in this gate, and there is a moment that it feels like it's not gonna go, so much so that our human takes one step forward before the gate gives way and the marbles start. You start hearing this loud roar as they come down the ramp that they created, and as they hit this hard wood, and they spread all over the place. And in fact, it worked in your favor. It didn't go so immediately, because our human had no time to react to these marbles suddenly appearing, only really being able to react to the loud noise of as these marbles clatter onto the ground. But they're already taking a step when they realize what's happening, and with that they quickly try and catch themselves with another stepping on another group of marbles. Luckily, there were plenty of marbles to set up, and there's about 30 to 40 marbles that just went out and spread across the floor, leading to our table. And as this happened, our gremlins watch with a keen eye as this one lone marble goes and it catches into the little cup that they made. And with it, they watch as it kind of rocks in and out, having not accounted for, and it could always go in. If it goes in with enough force, it could just bounce right back out. Our teddy bear is nice and stuffed. It wouldn't take a lot for this marble to bounce out, but luckily it rolls in just slowly enough. It tips in and it almost doesn't make it all the way into the cup, but just as it chooses to go into the cup, our human, now careening both feet full of marbles, and trying to catch a step without any marbles, hands out, trying to reach for where the table is now moved, or one of the chairs that's also now moved. Instead catches onto this mannequin, and a relief goes into this human, but this mannequin, it's a wobbly mess from the top to the bottom. So as they catch onto it, thinking they finally got something stable, it actually gives way in one direction. The base goes off in one direction and the top of the mannequin goes in another. So they rock forward into the side, and once again they lose this balance, and they don't necessarily get scared like the gremlins were kind of hoping would happen with this mannequin, but it still works as intended. Our human is now almost dancing with this mannequin, hopelessly trying to get any sort of balance. And as they are yanking this mannequin, as they're on their way down, our sack of fruit, the twine holds and it yanks forward. It works as a countermeasure, and they yank forward towards our table. And our gremlins are now nibbling on their raisins as they watch with rapt joy as we go careening into our finale, as you hear the sack of fruits fall over, and as they're being pulled by this human on this mannequin. And as this mannequin is rocking and rolling, as our human is rocking and rolling, they're going over towards the new location of where this dining room table is, the small dining room table is, and a chair that's let out. And you can almost see the relief on the human's face of, oh, thank the heavens, thank the gods, finally. Something I can catch myself on. However, the mannequin is in between. The human is trying to catch onto the table, but this mannequin is kind of in the way, and they're unable to kind of reach forward for the table. Instead, they careen forward or backwards to sit in this chair. Because that's better than nothing. Not even paying attention to the slight discoloration on this chair of the leather of this flask, this skin flask, that they are water skin. There we go. Boom, got it. This water skin that's in the chair, not paying any mind to it, nor really being able to see, nor really comprehend why their horn is out on the table right now. And as they go careening, hugging this mannequin, they fall back onto the chair. And as they fall back on the chair, they depress down on this water skin full of air, breaking the seal at the end as the air cascades through this hose and into the horn. Disappointingly, the horn doesn't make really that loud of a noise. You get a soft little sound that comes out of it, but not really what the gremlins were hoping for. But luckily, while the horn made no noise, the jacks definitely made up for it, as our human quickly sits down on this water skin full of air that immediately has all its air rush out. They take the full brunt of the jacks into their bum as they sit down hard on the seat, hugging this mannequin and now yowling as they're still in this half awake, half sleep mode. And suddenly there's a lot of sharp jacks in their butt. And as our gremlins laugh to themselves and quickly leave the location before they are caught, because you don't want to be there when this kind of surprise gift is given, the reaction was all they needed. And they miss out, our poor little gremlins, as they duck and dodge and weave their way through the morning crowd back to their homes. As they run away, ducking and dodging between all of these people, they miss out on kind of the second act of this trap as the Yowl wakes up the other human in the house, who also walks through that same door and also slips on these marbles. They're not having as spectacular as of a showing as the first human did. They just try to catch onto the door and swing about wildly before they eventually just fall down on their butts on top of these marbles in front of their door, as the other human stands up and falls down again, forgetting about the marbles at their feet. Back onto the jacks and yowls again, as they desperately try to remove these jacks from a place they would rather not have them. And our gremlins go laughing to themselves, hearts full, as they head back to their homes, knowing that their gift was successful. And while there were a lot of hardships that came with their hard work, they made it. They were able to successfully repay this family for all of the joy that they have provided them over the year, with all of the traps and all of their presents that they've gotten from the human villagers. And they can't wait to see what new fun pranks they'll have to maneuver through next with this human family. And that's the end of our I'd say our first game of our gremlin gifts. It was a success. Barely. We rolled as low as we possibly could to get a successful story. We rolled 9 points. I also skipped all 3 of my ads. So if anyone came in during that and had to watch an ad, I'm so sorry, because you're going to have to watch an ad again in a couple of minutes when this last one goes. But yeah, I barely got it. 9 through 14 is the amount of points you need to get a successful ending. Our points are 4 through 8 points. Your gift isn't effective and you're going to leave disappointed. 9 through 14 points is a successful story. You get it done. It's not perfect, but you come out of it happy. 15 through 22, that's perfection. That's the thing of heroes. Those are the stories you hear from your heroes, about your heroes. The best of the best. Those are the ones that you get at 15 to 22. I also like the idea of, in the finale, allowing a person to use a chaos point as they got it. I think that makes things a little more exciting. And it's, at the end of the day, it's still a 50-50. So I'm just going to write that in real quick to the rules. In the finale, if you get a chaos point by rolling a 1 or 6, you get you can use that point before resolving the card. How did we like it? Did we like it? Did we think that was fun? Did we think that was a fun story? Do you think that's a fun game? Good mechanics, easy to follow? Also, pay no mind to the spades with clubs next to them. Someone me didn't fix it when I was making the cards. I did not uncheck the club after I checked the spade. Turns out it's important that you click both of those. But it's fine. We both know that I don't know the difference between the spade and the club. So this is really just the embodiment of that. Let's see. I'm going to... Can I... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on. We're just gonna... Can I take the card? Nope, that doesn't do what I wanted it to do. Let's put that back down. I've never done this on the player side of things. If I remove this card... Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay. 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 How do I clear the cards on... Can I not clear the cards on the player side of things? Do I have to open a... do I have to open it in the GM view? I dig it. Love to give it a spin yourself sometime. Aw, thank you so much, Dan. I definitely need to definitely write it out in a way that makes sense. Because it doesn't right now. It's not laid out in a nice way. Let's just say that. Can I... Yeah, we can recall all our cards like that. There we go. Removed cards. Okay, hopefully all the cards are in this deck. We're going to, as soon as it lets me, shuffle the cards. Okay. That should be all I need to do over on the GM side of things. All right. Yeah, I think we've just witnessed this family's villain origin story. Absolutely. We 100% have. But like that's also kind of what the Gremlins want, because like I said, that's kind of like their deal. In fact, this family has been upping their game every single time. Like every week they improve on their traps. And the Gremlins are just better at them because that's like their society. That's just how they live. All right, let me take a little bit of a drink of water. And we'll roll this once more. We'll play another round of Gremlin gifts. And let's see how it goes. So you guys know the drill. We're a little gremlin group going to a house. This time, let's say we're in like a business. Let's say we're in a bakery. Well, let's say we're in a bakery. I think that could be fun. Even though I have no food items in this list. One thing that will be mentioned in the rules or in the book, I guess, the PDF, wherever I end up putting this, it's going to be a PDF. It is, you can use whatever the hell you want else. I'm giving you an item that you have to use. To connect, you have to use in that step, but that doesn't mean you're limited to that item. I do. Absolutely, Sphinx. Do you think you might add some roll tables for building the goblins? For the building the goblins are doing this in? Yeah. It was my intention to do so. I definitely forgot to do it. It was on the list of things I wanted to do before I played the game. But that is something I definitely will be having. I'll be having for the have a good night, Dan. Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out and watching the first half. Have a good night, Dan. I know I started this late. I was late. I just there was a lot of things to get done that I didn't think I needed to get done. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna add a roll table. I'm gonna add a few roll tables for flavor. So like the building you're in, um, for the multiplayer version of this, I want to roll different like classes or like different professions that the goblins have. So you can be more focused in your energies when you're in a group setting. Um, and I was thinking of adding that to this game, but I don't think that's necessary. But I'll probably still add it in the PDF just for like if you need like ideas, or you need a little bit more direction, that'll be there for you, so you can like create your little army of gobos or gremlins. Imagine if this is sci-fi setting, robo-goblins. Look, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, I made these items as broad as they possibly can. Obviously, my depictions of them on these cards are a little more old school because I knew what setting I wanted to play this in. But these are purposely vague so you can put it in any setting you want. I think it will work in any setting you want. Like we'll do this round in the modern setting, like a now setting, instead of us in medieval fantasy world. Although we'll still be in the bakery. So because I mean, either way, you're still a little gremlin who's going to get in no matter where you are. You're going to deal with the situation. You're going to be adapted to the situation you're in. So these little gobos, will have like, you are little goblins who have maneuvered from your home under the tree next to this bakery. You've been frequenting this bakery for a long time now. It's probably been a solid 2 years, which is forever in Gremlin time. So there's at least 2 generations in this who have experienced this bakery so far. It smells amazing. It's a great spot. No one ever looks at this tree. In fact, you think it's protected. You don't know why people have to protect trees, but I guess that's important when there's not a lot of trees in the area. So this was a lucky find next to somewhere delicious smelling. Not only that, but the bakers have been really, really, really kind to you guys. They've set up a bunch of traps and things all over the place, but you've managed to get through it just fine. And it is really cool to see them over the last 2 years start off their traps really like low key, kind of like just in the way that goblins do or gremlins do, in a way to just kind of like get to know each other. Is this the kind of trap you guys like? It's fascinating that these bakers knew the customs of gremlins, and over 2 years, there's not enough you can do to thank them for not only welcoming you into their homes, but also providing you such a brilliant and welcoming area with escalating traps. And honestly, it's about time you got around to leaving them a present of their own, but it's taking you some time. There's not as many resources in the area. And while the bakery is really nice, there's not a lot inside of it that you could really use. So there's some things that you've been collecting, and you've noticed they've also been kind of collecting. Yeah. Move over, Keeler Elves. We're working the side of the street. So now it's the longest night of the year, and humans move a lot. But you've learned over the year that they don't really pay that much attention to anything that's happening around them. So you're kind of free to just exist in this area. And in fact, this bakery has an outdoor cat that they frequently also treat. But you and the cat are kind of, it's kind of become your guardian also, a guardian of your home and of the gremlins. The cat, fends off any rats that are going into the bakery, and in exchange also blocking rats from kind of getting into this tree. It is like I said, it is a hot commodity to be in this tree, in this place. And many critters try to move in, but the cat makes sure that they don't. You don't know if it has to do with their love of mischief. You don't know if it has to do with the love of the scritches it gets, or just honestly being provided a peaceful napping zone. But yeah, you and this cat are cool, and the cat's cool with the bakery. And honestly, you're kind of excited to find out what the cat's going to think of your epic present, your epic gift to this bakery. But that's enough yapping. Let's get started. How are we getting started with this? My idea for this is it's going to be so the bakers don't live in this building. They work in this building. So the door they always open first is their front door, the one that customers also walk in. So I wanted to start off in the it gets activated by this first door opening. And it's kind of a long con sort of situation. I don't want the entire machine to operate in the front of this room. I also wanted to head into the back area where like they do the baking. So not in the customer area where like there's one or two tables and the nice display with nothing in it at night and the cash register. No. We're going to head into the back where there's a bunch of tables, a bunch of machines, a bunch of a large space, That's going to be the fun place. Yeah, the cat's no fool. Cat's absolutely no fool. He knows what's up, and he loves mischief. So we're starting off with a hammer, which is kind of a wild start. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I think I have an idea. For it. So we'll start off with our first roll, which is a tails, which means it's old. So first, let me put this token on 1 because we just started the game. And we're at least going to work 1 hour. So let's put our little token on 1. And let's see. Naughty or nice, which one are we getting? We were going to have to roll 2 dice and then take the lower one. So we're taking the lower number. We're taking the 4, but that's good. That's good. See? Just because you're me doesn't mean you can't also pass a roll. Succeed in the roll when you have gotten an old item. So this is actually really convenient. So again, I don't want this to start off when you in this front area. So what we're gonna do is our gremlins are going to find their way up into the crawl spaces up top, in where all the wiring for all of these lights are, because they always have this like really obnoxious bright lighting that has to be spaced like every few feet, otherwise you don't get that fluorescent burn. So they maneuver up into it's one of those like drop ceilings, so like you can like push up the tile and push things through there and then do that. It's not like a proper ceiling. It's one of those drop ceilings. So they go in through the top, maneuver their way up there. And up there, they have taken they're taking some of this wire. They already took out the security system. They already gnawed through that earlier last night. It turns out that humans don't get that fixed very often when it does happen. So they kind of have already chewed through most of the security systems and the alarms and stuff. Not that they would really set anything off, but, just in case. They don't want their fun ending a little early. So they are taking some of the wires that they have been stashing up here as they've been slowly creating chaos, and they are feeding it through this tile, which they've all worked on pushing up, and they are maneuvering this wire down, and they are tying, and they're bringing the other end, one end to the entrance of the to where the door is at the entrance, and they're taking the other end and putting it over the one of the metal tables closest to the entrance of the kitchen from the entrance. So hopefully it's going to be heard. So on one side, they are tying the wire on the wooden end of the hammer, and or you know what, they're tying it. They have the wooden part up, but they're tying it around the bottom half of the hammer just because it's easier to probably tie it on that. And then the other end of the while there's like I would say this is probably a hefty job, so there's probably more like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 gobos or gremlins working on this. So like 4 or 5 of them are making sure to keep hold of this wire, really straining themselves as much as they can, while the other, because it's important that this is a taut line as much as possible, so they can't like tie it somewhere before it gets tied off where it needs to be. So they're holding on to it real hard, and the other end, they're tying it to there is this I don't know if you've seen them, but the like security things at the top of the like swinging doors, so you can hear when somebody comes in and comes out, the ding ding sort of thing. And it's like this large like box that they put on the edge of the to be the monitor up at the edge of the doors, but they tie it on the door. So when you open the door, which is a push in, right? You push into the door, it's going to make the hammer go loose. It's going to extend the hammer, or no. Oh, no. Okay, so they have the hammer on the table, then they tie it on the door. And when the door opens, it pulls up the hammer. So when it closes again, you'll hear the hammer drop on this metal table and go make a nice loud clang. Now, not a super loud clang, but a loud enough clang that you would hear it right away when you open the door and you closed it. Because they want to redirect the attention over to the kitchen. So that's what we do to start with our hammer. That's a wild one to find in the bakery. So the next thing we find, or we're going to use, is a shoehorn. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what a shoehorn is, it's the thing you use to like put on your shoe. You know how you really, a lot of people don't like to untie their shoes and like to like squeeze their foot into a shoe without untying them or loosening the laces at all when you're doing like a boot or a sneaker or something. Or like a nice dress shoe. They will okay, I have to see how this works. It's gonna work, right? You put it on the back of your shoe so you don't smush it down with your heel, and it also stretches it out enough so you can like put your foot into it. That's what a shoehorn is. Okay, cool. I mean, let's see what we get, and then we'll really think about this. So let's see, heads or tails? Tails. Okay, we're taking the lower of the two. We succeeded on that last one. We just started a new turn, so we're doing that. Naughty or nice, taking the lowest of the two. Oh my god, we passed again. We failed, but we passed. So now we have these are the same exact numbers. We got a 6 and a 4. That's wild that I've rolled a 6 and a 4. It's wild that I've rolled a 6 twice. But we failed both times, or like we got the old item, so it's gonna take a while. So this shoehorn is bent to the point of failure. That is what my flavor text that I put on the shoehorn for an old one. Because I've never owned a shoehorn, so I don't know how they go poorly. But there's also a ton of different types of shoehorns. There's like fancy ones. There's like ones that are long, so you don't have to reach down all the way and do it. You can just put it down and stretch it almost like a cane. There's a lot of different types of shoehorns. There's also shoehorns that are like shapes of things. So there's a lot of different things we can do with the shoehorn that we could choose here. So we have this club, or we have this hammer that drops and it calls you into the back kitchen. Now the back kitchen has one of those like doors that, one of those swinging doors, like saloon-esque doors that you just walk through. So you walk in, the hammer's right there. We need you to, what do we need you to do? I don't want to banana peel it. I feel like banana peel is too easy. So a family heirloom shoehorn. That would be fantastic, actually. Okay, so I know what we're gonna do. Okay, I know what we're gonna do. So remember when I told you that there's a bunch of different types of shoehorns that exist out there? And there's a ton of different shoehorns that exist out there. Some of them are funny. And some of them are very useful. Some of them are heavy, some of them are light. Some of them are long, some of them are short. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna get one of these, okay. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Because I want to show you guys what this item is that I want them to interact with. So there are these shoehorns that are like this, that are like that have some sort of form and then the shoehorn in the back. And it's going to be something like this. It's going to be a large metal item that is definitely more for display than it is for use, or something like you nail onto the wall and you use. Yeah, right? And the fuck? Well, the thing is that this is a shoehorn part. This is, I believe, the part you hold on to. That's the kind of shoehorn we're going to use in this situation. One of these large, heavy shoehorns. I think of them in the way of specifically something like this. Specifically, it's going to look like this. Something heavy, metallic, big, like that. They, again, something that's more like for display than it really is for use, but they are, a lot of these things exist. They're not all longhorns. I just think of longhorns because I'm from Texas. I have concerns that you have this pic. I found it. I don't own it. I found it. I just Googled it. I just knew what to Google. I didn't know they existed. I had never heard of a shoehorn until recently. I learned about a shoehorn like 2 or 3 years ago. I'd never heard of one before. But I saw them on TikTok, I think. Or maybe it was Tumblr, honestly. So it's going to be one of those shoehorns. And so, and I bet you one of these shoehorns exists like right behind the counter, where the customers can't see it. But when our baker gets into the bakery, they come in and they like take off their shoes, or like they take off their shoes that they walked to work with. because we're in the city. If that wasn't clear, we're smack dab in the middle of like a downtown city. So they come in and they change your shoes out to their like nice, comfortable working restaurant shoes. Cause I'll be honest with you, I would crash the fuck out if I was wearing my expensive, working in the back of a restaurant, or in the back, where you have to have very specific non-slip shoes, black shoes. I would crash the fuck out if somebody fucked up my shoes when I was walking to work in those. So I can totally see this person getting there, taking off their like day shoes that they walked here with, and then putting on their restaurant shoes, and then at the end of the day using the shoehorn to take off their other shoes, their work shoes, and then putting on their nice shoes. So, or like they're walking back home shoes. So this shoehorn is just chilling in the back of the cashier area. And it's nice and heavy. So it's one of those things that like you don't have to maneuver yourself. It'll just do it while you're standing there. It's heavy enough to hold that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that item, and it's going to be one of these polling things. They're going to be using these extra wires that they have and looping it around these edges, and they're all going to be hauling it forward until they reach the entrance of the door. So again, these doors swing open, and we don't want our baker to see this hammer right away. So what's going to happen is they're going to walk in, going to take a couple of steps, and then they're going to hit their foot against this shoehorn. Stubbing their toe essentially is what's going to happen. So they're going to walk in, close the door, bang onto the table. Then they're going to walk in, open the doors, or walk through the doors, not think anything of it. You just walk through them. And as they're walking, boom, stub their toe on this, on the sharp end of this, of the shoehorn. So they're going to stop and they're going to be like, ow, ow, ow. That hurts. And I have an idea for the next step. But first we have to see what that next step is. You guys didn't think I'd have it, huh? You guys really didn't think I'd be able to figure out what I was going to do with the shoehorn. I didn't either, to be honest with you. I just remembered the fact that there's some really fucky looking shoehorns out there. So we get jacks next. All right, let's see how we roll on this one. Heads, let's go. We're taking the higher of the two numbers. I was about to be sad. I was about to be mad about it. But we rolled a 4. I was in my head. I was thinking, oh, I've rolled a success on both of my on my old items before. I'm going to roll 2 fails on my success, I bet. These goblins hate this, man. These gremlins. Yeah. I keep calling them goblins too, though. No, not this. Okay, I rolled a 4. So that is technically a success. We had the jacks again. They're back. This is actually an ancestor to that last family we just dealt with. No, you're good. I forget. I've called them goblins like a bajillion times during this, or gobos. So we have the jacks and the ball, and we succeeded this time. So this is a new set. This is a nice new sharp set, ball included. How are we gonna do this? What is the best way for us to do this? We are okay, so we come in, we stub our toe. I kind of wanted this. So I was gonna do this a different way, but I'm okay with doing it this way. So in the same way that I wanted our human to be off balance in the last version of this, I want something similar here. I want something similar here that's going to happen. So they come in, they go into the back, they stub their toe. They're like, ow, ow, ow. What they're going to do is they're going to place their hand on that table where the hammer is. They like, to do the ow, ow, ow thing and like hold their foot and stuff. And where they are holding, where they're gonna put their hand on the table to like anchor themselves, there's going to be these jacks there. And that is going to what's the best way to get this done? They're going to put their hand onto this table. They are going to hurt their hand on these jacks. Jacks hurt, by the way. You put their hand on these jacks, not really knowing they're there because they're kind of the same color as this table. And I don't know if you guys know this, but like bakers wake up hella early to go to work. So it's not like it's super bright in here, and I haven't really given them a chance to like turn on the lights very much, but don't you worry. Because that's about to happen, because while putting jacks down, it's pretty easy just to do that. What the other fun thing about these particular jacks that are made out of metal, we're gonna complete a circuit with our human here. So these wires that we have already been chewing off and stuff, obviously we understand how electricity works to an extent. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a live wire on the other side of this table that is running an electrical current through this entire table. And what that's going to do, and we're just going to create a quick circuit, using the human as the end of it. As they touch these gremlins are evil and sadistic. As they touch these jacks, they are, because, the jacks are going to make them go youch. And also that shock's going to make them go youch. So they're immediately going to take their hand off. So it's just going to be a quick completion of the circuit. As if they would push the button, right? And they're using the wires to one of the security systems. So it's a low grade current. It's not a heavy current to do such a thing as electrocute them and kill them. But it is enough to cause a little bit of a youch. But they are completing a circuit here. And what the circuit is going to be completing is they're going to be starting a machine, one of their machines in the back. Again, we want them to go on a little bit of a ride on this one. So we're pulling our next card, silverware. You know what? This one makes sense for a bakery. Let's roll to see what we get. Another tails. Let's see what we get here. Oh my gosh, we got another success on the fail. We don't take the 6. The 6 doesn't count because we rolled tails, so we have to take the lower number. But we got another success. We're doing great. This is awesome, which is awesome because this is a long con of a game or of a system we're going for here. I know how I kind of want this to end, so let's see how we get there. So we complete the system and we start a machine in the back. The machines they have in bakeries are like nice and large, and they go whoa, 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 like stand mixers but large. It's like one of those, but it's the one that like has a cage over it. I don't know why the cage is there in death. I don't know why that cage is there, but there's a cage there. And that's the one that started up. It's like on the opposite side of the room. So our baker has come in. They have heard a loud clang in the back. They immediately go to check it. They stub their toe on their own shoehorn that for some reason is now on the other side of these swinging doors that they where it shouldn't be. It should be behind the counter where it's always been, the work counter. But they jam before they can really think about it, they put their hand on this table and immediately hit a bunch of jacks. And while hitting these jacks, I don't even know if they noticed the shock because of the shock of the pain was so prevalent. But they complete a circuit, and as soon as they go, ouch, they hear the of the machine working in the back, which is like turned on, but like it's been, the circuit needed to be completed to turn it on. And the human completed that circuit by grounding it. And so I don't know electricity, but let's pretend that that's how electricity works. So we now have silverware. So now our character has Youch, shoehorn. Now this machine is working. We're working like a haunting right now. So this machine turns on. They probably take a second to like almost look around, but they don't really get the chance to figure out what's happening, because all of a sudden you hear a bunch of scraping and clattering and clanging that's happening inside this machine, inside this at the same time you're hearing this clattering of we're gonna hear a bunch of like silverware in there. So our gremlins are gonna be throwing in as much silverware as they possibly can find in this bakery, which is a lot, and throwing it into this large bowl so it makes the largest amounts of noise, because the gremlins want them to end up on that side of the room away and not notice any of their trickery that's happened. They want to keep them moving and going and heading to where they want them to go in the end here. So we threw a bunch of silverware inside this large caged mixing bowl, and now we have a pin cushion. I'm not the one choosing this. This is chance. Random chance is choosing these. I'm not choosing this. I just want the record to show that these are randomly chosen. Let's see what we get. Heads or tails? We get tails again. All right, let's see how this goes for us. All right, we finally fail one, so let's move one forward, because we just started, because every time we pull a card, we have to move forward by one. And because we just did a normal fail, we only have to move forward by one, but we have hit 6 o'clock, we have hit 6, so our rules are about to start changing. All right, so we have this pin cushion that has pins lost inside of it, and it's thin. Okay, so we have this loud clattering happening. We've led our baker into the back to try and stop this, because that is expensive equipment, and you really don't want anything scratching that large bowl. So they want to go and turn that off as soon as possible. So how the fuck am I gonna make a pin cushion work here? We have silverware in there. We have a pin cushion. A bit of an unorthodox way to make this work, but pins are metal. And to be honest with you, I don't really need metal for this, but I think it would just make it a little bit of a bigger light show here. So our protagonist or our baker goes to this large mixing bowl, loud clattering. And then as we turn off that machine, turning that off is now going to what's going to take a while. Honestly, all that's taking a while here is wiring. This is expensive. This is they're electricians. Turns out our guys, they're electricians. I guess they have to be in this modern world where you don't want security cameras to see you. and then that spoils all the fun. So we're taking our pin cushion and we're placing it on the other side of the room where there's this large mixing around the side with more large mixing bowls, but these are the ones that like you make like the dough for like rolls and stuff. Like this is like the special big bowl is like off in the corner, and then you have a smaller one for making like your cake mixes and stuff like that. Like the one in the cage, I don't know what the fuck you make in the one in the cage, but there's the other one with the cage. These are like your other breads that you're making over here. And along with that, there's a rows of stainless steel tables. And on one of those stainless steel tables leading over to that direction in the bakery, there's this small little tomato looking thing that honestly you would have noticed if you weren't so if our protagonists wouldn't have been so concerned with the silverware. So what's going to happen is this wire that our goblins have been leading everywhere, they have attached one of the ends directly to this pin cushion. But this wire was off until the circuit turned on by turning off physically the machine. So now the current is no longer going to the machine. It's now being redirected to this pin cushion, which instantly alights it. It instantly catches fire. And because it has a bunch of metal inside of it and it's such a strong current, it is sparking. I don't know if you guys have ever seen or experienced putting like a fork in the microwave. It's that kind of same visual along with popping because of the like plastic at the end of these pins that are inside and trapped inside and outside of this pin cushion. So they are lighting this pin cushion aflame like a candle. And what that's going to do is force this person to go to the back where there is the emergency exit door. But next to that emergency exit door, there's also a fire extinguisher. So they're going to go back there. They're going to catch his fire extinguisher and they're going to head back to try and put out this fire. That is going to be the actions that happen there. Okay, sure. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? So we have entered 6 o'clock. So now we move forward by 2 each turn. Let's roll our token. We got tails, so we take the lowest of the 2. We rolled double ones. That means we get a chaos point. We only get 1. Although it would be funny if I made you get 2. Let's try it. I'm going to give myself 2 chaos points here just because this could be a fun rule to have. So we're going to move forward by 2. So we're at 10 o'clock. I can't believe we rolled 2 ones on a horn. I guess because it's going to be hard to make this horn work, I guess. So we go back, we get the fire extinguisher, we start putting out this fire, electrical fire. I need the electricity to stop because the fire extinguisher isn't going to put it out. So what's the reaction? I could get the fire extinguisher. I could make our protagonist be another button again. What would be the best way to go about this? And then how do I include a horn here? So this horn is tarnished, dented, and the bells have sticky valves. First of all, why is there a horn in the bakery? That's my first question. Oh, okay. No. This gonna be fun. This gonna be fun. I made this specifically just horn because I wanted you to have the freedom to use any kind of horn that you could think of. I'm choosing to make it a brass instrument here, and it's going to be a brass instrument here in this example also, but you can use any kind of horn. It does not have to be a shiny brass instrument. Okay. So we grab this thing. Somehow, some way, that's going to cause the circuit to turn off. It's not going to stop the fire from going, so they're still going to have to use this fire extinguisher. This that'll turn off the circuit, though they're not going to like electrocute themselves. Or like the fire just never ends, I guess, and they have just a live wire in the middle of their kitchen. Where am I at? I'm at 10. So this is our last one. This is our last thing before finale. Okay. Oh, funnily enough, this is going to be another sixer, even though I have 6 cards. Okay. Cool. So this has to lead into our finale. Okay. They're turning off this thing that caught on fire with a fire extinguisher. I guess it doesn't have to be a fire extinguisher. They just have to extinguish the fire. Fire extinguisher is just my first thought, but I guess that's not the first thought. You can either smother it by like covering it with like a bowl, because it is stainless steel on stainless steel. So it would be pretty easy to just like cover it with a bowl. Okay, let's do that. I think that's fun. I think that'll be fun. So what they're gonna do instead of the fire extinguisher, fuck the fire extinguisher. Their instinct is going to be to grab one of the bowls, probably underneath this table or like on a table on the way there. And they're going to cover it with a stainless steel bowl to smother the fire. What they're not going to notice though is where this bowl is that they have like specifically like pushed out to make it like the first bowl you pull from that entire row. What's going to happen is they're going to have a trombone. Don't ask me why there's a trombone. There's a trombone in this bakery that was back here. You know what? This trombone was in the back alley of one of these buildings. And they found it one of these days. And they decided that they really wanted to use this in this grand finale. So they're lugging it from the back alley into the business. And they like the trombone because it has the slide. The trombone is the one with the long slide. That I need you guys to know. I had never held a trombone when I played a trombone for the first time in my brass methods class. And I thought there was something that kept that slide on the instrument. There's nothing that holds that slide on there. Just you are the one that makes sure that you don't pull the slide off of the instrument. Which is wild to me, because there's some like really long extended things you have to do. And you can just easily pop off. You can't easily pop it off. You'd actually have to have really long arms to do so. But that's my fun fact for you guys. That's going to be relevant here in a second. So what's going to happen is there's a trombone down there. And as soon as this baker grabs this bowl, there is twine on this bowl made that are, it's a lost art, but they still use it every once in a while to make their own twine and thread and things. The gremlins make this, and they tie it around the rim of the bowl. So when they pick it, and it's so thin, it's kind of hard to see. So when they pick it up and put it down, they're pulling, they're moving so fast that they're not even gonna realize the resistance on the other side of the bowl. Or at least it's not important until the bowl's on top of the fire. So as that's happening, the trombone slide of the trombone is going to be attached to it, attached to this bowl. So as this bowl is picked up and smothering this fire, it's going to yoink that slide off, and it's going to cause this trombone that was like this to lose its slide and therefore drop the heavier end down. And then that heavier end is going to trigger our final step into our finale. So let's see how the fuck we end up doing it. Shout out to the fucking trombone that we're gonna get here. All right. Okay. That's fine. We got some pittance. Let's roll a coin. We got tail, so we're taking the lowest of the two. It's a fail. We have 2 chaos points. And I'm going to choose to use one of our chaos points here to see if I can get a pass here. All right, I'm just going to do 1d6. That's still a fail. Feels bad, man. That was almost a pass by the die we watched roll, but that's not what happened. That was just a pretty screen for it. So that means we have an old hidden. Okay, so let's pull our next one. That's 1 fail. Suspenders. Okay, cool. So this pythons are going to be used to oh, well, I'll say it at the end. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on how we do this. So let's roll our coin. Tails again. Let's see what we get. Oh, 2 passes. Let's go. We're still in the game. All right, we get a pass on this one. We still have 1 chaos point, so we're hoping for the best here. And a kettle. Okay. No, I can make this work. We can make this work. We can make this work. I have an idea. I have an idea. All right. Coin, what do we got? Heads, let's go. We're taking the highest of the 2. Let's see. I have a chaos point. Can't believe. And we just got another chaos. Oh, no, we take the highest of the 2. So that 1 doesn't count for our chaos point. 1 more chaos point. Let's see if we can make it happen. For this, come on. We rolled a 4. That's a pass. All right, we get 2 passes and a fail here. That's fine. Because all this means is time, and we have a little bit of time to make this work. So we have a pigeon, we have a suspender, and we have a kettle. This has been very high tech and modern in using circuitry and electricity and doing all of these things. But this last little bit, it's going to be a little technology, a lot more old school. So we have covered this, they're going to cover this fire. I won't even tell you what the ending is. What's going to happen is they put these pythons, even though they're old and they're cracked and they're a little bit bent, these exist in the back for anchoring some of these larger machines to the wall. It was kind of like quick and easy way to do it, because the people who own this bakery are climbers, so they just had an excess of like old pitons that would still work, so they just decided to use those to hammer into the wall and the studs to make sure that they could anchor these big machines, right? So as they're anchored here on the back wall, it takes the gremlins a little bit, A, to just hammer them in there, but B, it takes these gremlins a little bit of time to kind of like to find good ones. They don't need them to be great. They just need them not to have cracks where these suspenders are gonna like are gonna just slip on through, because the little buckles on suspenders are kind of thin, and even though these pythons kind of like work when you're going up, you don't want them to, even the smallest little hairline fracture is going to just slip out these suspenders. And it's important that these suspenders are well secured to these pythons. So they take these pythons that are, you yoink them from the wall, which actually doesn't take a lot, and they apply them higher up instead. They apply these suspenders and again go into the ceiling, and they are going to hang the kettle on the other side of it. I can't skip this ad. I'll wait for a second though to describe the rest of it, or describe the finale. This kettle goes on the other end of it and is going to be swinging on the back of this. And what's going to be happening here is our trombone is, as this trombone drops down, there's going to be another piece of wire connecting the trombone to this python, and more importantly to the suspenders. So as this thing falls down, as the slide goes zoink and the trombone clatters down, it is going to cause the suspenders to stretch and move this kettle off of the drop ceiling edge that it's in. But before I tell you how this all happens in succession and where our gremlins set up to watch this, our little electrician goblins, let's wait for the ad and let's count this up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Then we had 2 successes, not 3. So we get 3 points here. So we get 9 again. So you guys know that I succeed here. So let's all take a second to drink some water and wait for this ad to start. I'm just gonna, I don't have I do have a minute and a half ad. I'm just gonna hit the ad now. Sure, that was you, Twitch, and not me. You're the one who did it, not me. Shout out to our timer. Oh, our clock is in the way of these. Sorry, I didn't even realize that. I'll move this over here. I think we failed all of these except the kettle. So the pythons are old. The suspenders grew with someone, so they're not as stretchy as they used to be. They're kind of, I wrote it as the suspenders grew with someone. So these suspenders are less stretchy and more stretched out, although they still have a little bit of that bounce. They're still suspenders, but they're definitely probably the link they're gonna forever be now. They're not gonna bounce back from it and only grow longer. And the kettle was new, so the kettle was still in the box. And I'm not thinking of this kind of kettle. I'm thinking like a longer kettle, probably like more industrial, as they would use a big kettle. We're in a bakery, so a big kettle is what they're using, not a little tiny kettle. I want you guys to think of like a long a long big kettle, kind of like the ones you see in like cafes and stuff, like a nice big one. All right, welcome back from the ad, guys. So we counted it up. We have 9 points. I was just telling you guys that the kettle is a big kettle. It's not a tiny kettle. It's a long kettle, and it doesn't look like the one in the picture. It's a nice big one. So with that in mind, we hit a 9, so that means we succeed. So our little gremlins, our little electricians, who have been pulling wire through ceilings, they have been redirecting currents, turning power on and off to make sure things work, and flipping breakers and stuff, and causing really the maximum amounts of, like, this is an electrician's nightmare. I think what's going to happen here for our poor baker, who's going to have to pay for this all after this goes on. So as our gremlins are gonna have a what have we used here? They've used one of these pythons that they didn't use for this mechanism to prop open the back door just enough so they can slip out at the end of their prank. But they are chilling on one of the stainless steel shelving units that's holding like a bunch of bowls and maybe like whisks and stuff, like one of those shelves up top. They're chilling on one of those with like the best view in the house, one that lets them see all the way down this room from the moment that they swing through those doors. They get up into this onto this, people come down from the ceiling, or the gremlins come down from the ceiling. They crawl up from using the white rags that you usually see tied together to make sure that they can like Rapunzel their way up and down these shelving units, and up and down from like the ceilings and stuff. Like they've been using those to crawl up and down all night, and also like to ferry things up to themselves. So as they sit up here finally all together for probably the first time in the entire night, this has been an entire production of just making sure that a lot of this like electrical stuff works, and a lot of troubleshooting to make sure that when one thing turned off, another thing turned off, and making sure that everything was safe. They don't want to burn. They don't want to cause any permanent damage to anything here. This is all in good fun. Like maybe a little headache here, a little bit of like a scrape there. That's fine, but they don't want to kill or hurt or maim anybody. These guys are their friends. So, and this is supposed to be a gift. So as they set up, the sun is barely starting to peek over the horizon when the door opens, and they hear the ding ding as the door opens, and our guys settle in with little stale pieces of like cupcake that they had saved from the night before, or the day before. They all shared a little cupcake in among themselves, and they have like a little glass of milk that they've also been storing. It was chilling like right next to the refrigerator or the freezer that this place has, so it's like nice and cool also. So as they sit there drinking their milk and nibbling on their little bit of a stale cupcake, they watch anxiously awaiting for those doors to swing open. As they hear the ding ding, opens a door, closes the door, clang. We hear our hammer hit the table. Then they hear the hurried heavy steps of this baker walk in, swinging the doors open. And as they come in and let the doors close behind them, You see them you see their reaction more so than the action itself as they hit their foot against this the shoehorn. They hit that thing and it's a big yow moment. They put their hand down onto this table, onto these jacks, and you see them pick up their hand. And true enough, you don't know if they even noticed that they got shocked. The pain was enough to make them recoil off of the table. And as they start shaking their hand along with almost shaking their leg to take away their stub toe-ness, they hear their machine start working in the background. And as that motor revs up, they also then start hearing the just awful scraping noise of metal on metal as this machine goes whoa, whoa, whoa. And all this silverware, forks and knives and cutlery just start scraping along the edges of this bowl and also make the racket as they scrape amongst each other. Immediately in pain, our gremlins watches the human walks over this shoehorn and look behind it almost confusedly for half a second before moving forward and rapidly going to turn off the machine. And they don't even have time to look in to see what that noise was before boom, on the side they see something bright happen and they hear the noises as the metal reacts with the electricity, the low-grade electricity. And again, not even having time to really register what's happening, they immediately go almost as if it's routine at this point. Although fires don't happen that often in bakeries, they do definitely happen. They have definitely happened to this person before in their training, so they know to grab their stainless steel bowl. They get the one most convenient to them, one that's just barely pushed out, and the gremlins grin giddy, start almost shaking up and down as they finish up their milk, and they see the human cover the fire, and before they can really even react to that, they hear the clattering of this of a trombone, which they can't even see, because the next thing that happens as they stand next to these large bread mixers, these huge bowls, in comparison, they're huge bowls in comparison, but they're probably like a little above your waist in if you were short in these places. Because you still have to put like big bowls of things into them, so they can't be that tall. These large bowls, they don't really even have time to react to what that was, because as they turn around to even just see what that was, to look around, boom, on the side of their head, they're hit by this kettle. Suddenly, off their rocker, essentially. They take a step forward and they go to hold on to something, and it's the bowl, that aforementioned large bowl of this mixer, and as they hold on to try and get like their get a hold of themselves, boom, the kettle hits them again, not as hard, but it doesn't matter at this point, and they fall straight into this mixing bowl head first, and our gremlins cheer for themselves and high five, giving themselves a little bit of time to be able to crawl down and walk out before this baker is able to maneuver their way out of this very slippery large bowl that they have somehow found themselves in. The gremlins miss the reaction of of the confusing setting in front of them, and they don't really get a hold of themselves until the next baker comes in and sees them crawling out of this bowl, confused as to what's happening. And seeing this kettle just swinging lightly with the air conditioning in the back, and their boss just kind of dazed on the ground. A bowl, it's something smells burnt. There was a bowl covering something, and they'll only get more confused when they see a hammer connected to the front door and a lot of silverware in another bowl. They think that their boss might be going crazy. And that is how our adventure for our little gremlins goes with this end of the adventure. We passed again. I thought this one we had a better chance of passing, but we definitely could have failed on that one. I'd like the idea if you roll Snake Eyes, you get 2 chaos points. I feel like that gives maximum amount of chaos. The point of chaos points to me is to cause chaos, and that feels chaos. But yeah, so I'm happy with how this went. I am happy. Okay, I just needed to write that down before I forgot. Yeah, I'm happy with how that went. I'm happy with the game part of this game. I think that I'm happy with the game part of this game. I thought it wasn't going to take long because we just kind of sped run through it when we were testing it all out, but we were able to get it done. What else? Yeah, I'm very satisfied with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun watching Gremlin Gifts tonight. This I'll probably release it for you guys. I just need to write it in words that make sense to other people and coalesce them all together. I don't know when it's going to be out. There's a few revisions that need to be made. Along with just, again, writing it out in a way that makes sense to other people and not just me and my brain, along with like some context that needs to be added that I haven't added elsewhere. It only exists up in this little noggin, and I've said it aloud several times. So yeah, that was fun. I'm happy. It went way better than I thought it would. I am excited to revise this and to release it to you guys, so you guys can also play it and do your own things with it and tell me about your adventures with it. But yeah, so that is Gremlin Gifts. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun. I am gonna call it there because I am tired because I stayed up late to finish these cards, and I woke up early so I could finish these cards. And I was still an hour late, so like, things happen. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun. I certainly had fun. And our next stream will be tomorrow on Thursday, probably, most likely. And we're going to be probably doing Minecraft just to like kind of chill out. Because tomorrow's the one day I'm not going to be planning things. Friday and Saturday I have plans to discuss some future plans for the channel. So that's all going to be future games of various types. So look forward to that. I certainly am, but I would enjoy at least a little bit of a break. So that'll be tomorrow. Next week, I will be streaming on Thursday, and I probably will be streaming on Friday. And next week, I also will be streaming. I don't have any plans for Christmas aside from just the normal stuff that I usually do with my parents, but it's like low key and quick. So like I'll have all week to do stuff. So you can look forward to more streams next week if that is of any interest to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful morning, night, evening, wherever you may be. Don't forget to be nice to each other. Don't forget to be compassionate. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye. Oh boy, that was a good one. That was good. I like that. I had a lot of fun. I did use up all my snoozes on stream. So next week we also won't, tomorrow we won't have any snoozes on our stuff either. So yeah, it should be fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, hanging out. Thank you guys for leaving your lurks here. And thank you guys so much for yeah. Thank you guys. Sorry, I just read a message. Thank you guys so much for watching. Even if you had to endure the ads, I really appreciate that. For those of you guys who are lurking, I really appreciate the lurk. It really helps out the channel. And honestly, you guys are gonna start paying with your ad watching and your subs and stuff for my TTRPGs that I will be buying in the next year, because I plan on doing almost double the RPGs I've done this year. Well, certainly double. At least I have at least double planned already. I have some friends of the channel that are going to be stopping by. Some you may know, some you may not know, who are going to be stopping by and playing in at least the first half of the year I have planned. Although I have plenty of friends to play games with, so don't you worry. It is bound to happen. And there are plenty of games out there. In fact, like I said, this weekend, I am in fact going to be talking to somebody about a future game. So that, and I'll still have my solo games going, and I still have plans for some games I want to write. This was a good like starter to kind of get an idea of all the things I need to think about. Sometimes you just got to get your brain started and then everything starts kind of going. But thank you guys so much for watching the ads, for subscribing and everything, for lurking. It really, really helps the channel, and it really helps me pay for these TTRPGs. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to go for the Ko-Fi. I have no more shows. We had our finale of Nine Fox Gambit over on Doc's channel. So I'm free for the foreseeable future, at least on other people's channels. We'll see. There's always time. But feel free to if you guys want to give a little bit more, or you don't like giving here on Twitch, Ko-Fi is a great place to contribute to the channel and stuff, but it's not necessary. It's just there if you want to do a little bit extra. Eventually I'll have the Patreon is live. I don't have anything for the Patreon. I don't think I have anything. Patreon exists. Oh my god, I did put my Patreon up there. Look at me actually doing things. The Patreon is there. It exists. I just haven't done anything with it yet. I'm gonna put stuff up there for posterity's sake, but especially things where I accidentally have copyrighted music. So I just need to edit the music in to actually the 1680 stream, because I didn't have the music on for like the first few, which is a bummer. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. For my lurkers, thank you guys so much for lurking. Here's a 3-minute ad for my appreciation, and for my subs, turbo watchers, and just non-ad watchers, thank you guys so much for stopping by, hanging out. I really appreciate it. It is, again, a huge help just to know I have a little bit of money coming in every month. Also, thank you guys for doing things like reposting my posts over on Blue Sky and liking stuff over on Blue Sky. And honestly, watching things over on the VOD channel, TBH with you. So these are a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So it's definitely worth it. So yeah, thank you guys so much once again. We have about 2 minutes left of this ad, so I'll leave you guys to listen to some lo-fi before the end of the stream. You guys rock, you guys rule, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.